Dr. Holbert, and welcome to the mobile apps class. This is my introductory video. I'm going to try to give you a little help with getting up and going. This is going to be by far the most difficult part of the class. The rest of it's going to be really easy in comparison to getting your tools working in the environment. So you really got to get Cordova installed, you got Android Studio installed, but you also need to have Java installed and some of the Java tools as well. And so there's a lot of things you have to get going and working and mapped properly on the system before any of this is going to work. And then you've got to be able to import that into the into Android Studio. So that is another important part of the process. So I'm going to start with a command line. We're going to use the command line, and if you've gone to the Cordova website, you should have installed the npm and installed Cordova the way that it should be installed, and based on the instructions from the command line tools. And so Cordova, I would assume at this point, is installed on your system. And if you type the word Cordova, it should at least give you some information about it, and it should show up on the command line no problem. Now, the other things that you need to have installed are Java, and you can't have the Java, you can't have just the JRE, you need the JDK installed. And so when you type Java C like this, you should also get a set of commands. If it tells you that it doesn't know what you're talking about, you know, the Java C command does not work, and this goes for whether you're doing in a Unix-based system like I am. This is Bash, so it's just like if you're using Linux. In Windows, it'd be the DOS prompt. If you type in Java C and nothing comes up, you probably do not have the JDK installed, and so you need to get that installed as well. The other command you're going to need available is ant. And so you should be able to type ant at your command line, hit enter, and you should get this message that the build file doesn't exist. If it doesn't know what ant is, again, you're going to need to go to the ant website. You're going to need to install ant on your system, and you will need to map ant. And when I mean map, that means that you have to put it into the path variable on Windows or into your profile on Unix. So I'm going to look at my base system right here, and I'm going to just real fast, I'm going to do a nano of .bash profile, and you can see here that I've exported the path to several spots on my computer. And so what you're going to need here is you're going to want to make sure that you export the path here. That is, this is where my ant bin is, and so that makes it so that when I type ant into the command line that it can use it. And right here you can see that these are the Android platform tools. Right there you can see these colons separated, so that makes it so that when I type in the Android or the Android word, it will also show up on my system, and also the tools there. So there's the platform tools and the tools there. And then I had to make an Android home, which tells me where my Android folder is. And then I did an ant home, which also tells the system where ant is. And you can see here's my Java home, which tells me where the Java tools are. Now this is going to be different for everybody as far as what they are using. So every system's going to be a little bit different. The point is you have to get those things installed. You need to map to the Android tools after the install, and then you need to map your ant, and you need to make sure your JDK is also mapped. So you should be able to type those words and get all of those things at the command line. If they're not working, you're not going to be able to get it to work. And so I believe I can, if I type Android here, will also, you see that it runs, it's bringing up the software for Android. It's actually the SDK manager is what's going to pop up. You see right here, the SDK manager tools pop up, but we're not going to worry about those right now. All right. And so those are your command. Once you have all those working, then your Cordova command should work no problem. And when you do your Cordova, you can just, Cordova create, and then users desktop and test. It doesn't work well with spaces, so I like to leave the spaces out of it at first, and then after you're into the project, you can start putting spaces into things. So I'm just going to call it the test program. Then you'll see when you read on, you make a reverse domain. I'm just going to do org.test.test. And so this doesn't have to be real, it just identifies it individually, and then this is the name of my project, test test pro. All right, and then I'm going to hit enter. And so the Cordova script has just created the project folder on my desktop. And you can see there it is, called test program. If I open it up, you can see that I've got some stuff in here, but not much. And so now you have to tell it the specific platform on which you are creating. So I have to go CD, I'm going to change directory, and I'm going to switch into the where I created the project. And so CD/users, me, desktop, and then test program. Once I'm in there, I can go ahead and add the Android stuff. So now I say Cordova platform, add Android. And now this goes out and it's going to the internet and it is grabbing all the tools that I need and putting those in there. And then I say Cordova build Android. Hold on, Cordova prepare. I don't know exactly what that does, but then you do a Cordova build Android. And you'll see it'll go through and it'll build the project. We should have a successful build out of it. And and without doing any more to it, this actually is a working program. And I could actually run from the command line. I could launch my Android emulator and see the program run. But we want to put this into a visual tool, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this video off, and then I'll start a new one just to try and make the size a little bit smaller. But you can see it already made the APK file for the for Android Studio.